Thank you. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, international visitors, local industry, government, and the media. I should start by thanking Sarah for this opportunity to present here at the first live events technical production conference 2015. And it is a great privilege and honor to be here at such an auspicious inaugural event amongst many of the top guns present from far and from near. And a warm welcome is extended to all of you. My name is Rashid Lombard. I'm based in Cape Town. I'm also the co-founder of the Cape Town International Jazz Festival, where I just concluded 16 years of rock and roll. I'm now a free agent. I'm thus very grateful to be here in Johannesburg at the inaugural event, and I make special note of appreciation to Sarah and to my colleague and friend and comrade, Freddie Nyatella, and the Sarah board and his team for making this conference possible. And I make special note to the Department of Arts and Culture for its vision and support in this important initiative. There's little today as important as knowledge and skills, regardless of the sector. In this instance, knowledge and skills are literally beyond critical for the events, technical and production sector. And the topic that I'm going to address today is integrating live events, technical production, skills and training in the workplace. I've got a limited time, but this topic can easily stretch for many hours to fully vent what we're trying to get at and what we're trying to do in the short time. So bear with me. And in the context of today, my personal history, nearly 16 years of festival production, and prior to that, radio production, so I take it from that sector I've worked in. This is a perspective I will talk from, in particular as regards to the multiple opportunities provided by live events, technical and production workplace, and how do we integrate these skills and training and development. Before engaging, 3 points of phrasing clarity as used during this presentation we'll look at integrate. And this is given as a means to mix, assimilate, participate, incorporate, add, amalgamate, combine, and so we can go on, because we are trying to almost short-circuit what we're trying to do, since we need to catch up with the likes of Germany, which is very frightening. But great to know that it's out there and it's possible that we could look at that in future. And the skills training and development is given to the mix of formal and informal on-the-job programs that is available to develop those skills. And that leads us to sustain professional capacity in the live and technical and production workplace. The workplace, it's where we learn the best. It's any place of work, live event, and especially relating to what we're talking about. And just to illustrate it, there are so many sectors, and although we're only talking about the technical side in terms of SARA, we're also looking at how it adds on, from logistics, operations, to backstage, corporate hospital, fit, and you name it. And a lot of these workplaces could be part of the service providers that are out there. And if we look at, and I just mapped this out, and there's more one can add, is that from the workplaces, how do service providers assist in terms of the skills intervention on site? So there's one access live and skills training, and that's looking at the main. One has to approach Sarah, who is a limited intake, to join, and they at this stage has an NQ4 program, And SARA at this stage is the only accredited organization in South Africa for these qualifications. And we'll get back to NQF4 because it's matric. And if you look at the level of skills in this sector, it's a bit unfair to benchmark it at matric level. Or does one seek employment, full or part-time, at any level of workplace? One goes to future education and training, to a college. And I think I mentioned early on is that people who don't work in the workplace lecture on within our industry. And then, of course, one leaves the country and goes overseas. And we need to crack this integration. And there's a lot of space to improve. And we're all grappling about how we do it. Now, there are ways and means, and I think further in the next 2 days and late in the day, I think we're going to get lots of ideas how we could crack it, and very quickly. Or one knows someone who's a friend, a family, or one wins a lotto in order to go overseas. There are lots of barriers at this stage, and it's kind of almost like a structural block for our young people. So how do we penetrate it? Ensure the option to access skills training and development in the live entertainment industry producers are limited, very limited. Okay, the nature of our industry. It's important that I address the nature from at least one viewpoint, that being the makeup of the top-level skills capacity, which would include formal theory training and development, practical workshop experience on the job, ongoing skills intervention to upgrade and develop and maintain those skill standards. All in all, if it was not the mention of technical and production skills, the above 3 points could easily refer to medical, engineering, legal, auditing, and I think that comparison was made earlier on. It's a skill base, it's a cultural industries, it's like mining, and it's a sector that's been neglected since 1994. The point being made that technical and production sector skills rely on the above 3 points, just as as all the other industries I mentioned. So we know the workplace is a critical component. And that's not even mentioning, we're talking about live events, that's not even mentioning going down to level of weddings, of sport, of bazaars. There's always a requirement. Those skills are required. So in short, a live event is in a way no different than a construction site, each offering multiple workplaces driven by a single project, so to speak. In the live event and technical production center, there must be at least 20. In fact, the other day we sketched down 42 annual events. That's annual concerts, and this is music, it's live, across all genres. And I'm sure if we sit with people, smaller ones will start popping up. And this excluding sporting events, which is a major pastime, or a major in this country. So how do we prepare people? And I think this illustrates the urgency to skill people in order to meet our needs in future. Integrating, which is a critical component. Integrating live events, technical production, and development in the workplace is the critical, and that's what we're looking at. And the integration is also, somebody spoke about incubator programs, and I'm saying my understanding of incubator, it's stagnant. Shouldn't be accelerator, so that it's active rather than chilling and getting warm. So building live events in technical sector, what is the capacity and what of the pool of skills we have? Has an audit been done? I don't think so, but we know that there is room for space. Also upgrading the country's skills qualification to international standards. I think we've learned a lot today about where we can, don't make the mistakes that others made. And I think we will base a lot of our moving forward on models that worked in various other countries and with our colleagues here. And of course, reducing reliance on international scarcity of skills available. So there's no question this is a challenge. However, it definitely can be achieved after this session. So how? How do we go about it? Recognizing each of the workplaces on the live event and qualifying the skills required for each workplace. Aligning alliances with training organizations at entry level and job training at workplaces, almost like the apprenticeship kind of thing, if that's the way we can go, if companies are open to take young people in, and always seeking and deploying skills intervention with technical and blah, blah, blah. In other words, limited options once again. And I think, again, what initiatives do we take? What is formal, what's informal? Does the informal work quicker for us? I was interested to speak to the lady from South African Qualifications Association, which I think we will engage, for them to tell us what do they understand about qualifications. Because one of the things we spoke about, how do you grade up people? Do you give them a certificate? Is it only matric? How do we take them to another level? How do we start stretching near the German model, which is also international standards and being used in Europe and in other countries? And the importance of skills intervention. There has to be some skills and development programs that has to be done. Are they short-term in nature? Are they widely used elsewhere in the world? Do they have immediate impact on skills capacity? Do they only occur once, or is it often, or is it repeated? Are they practical? And typically fall under, but not compliant with NQF and the South African SAQA's South African Quality Accredited Course. We know from our own intelligence they don't have anything within this sector. I might be wrong. They could have written it last night to tell us this morning they've got it, but I doubt it. Also, the nature of the workplace is that most are driven by changing software and technology and methodology, so it changes all the time. Again, do you do once-off? Is there follow-up? These are courses we got to look at. Is it done over 3 years? Would we be able to catch up? Because things move so fast. And without skills intervention, this sector will be in trouble if one looks at the future. And this is when you start looking at the skills demand. And I mentioned early on, we need to do an audit on what can happen in the events in the next 10 years. We mentioned the Commonwealth coming to Durban, and I suppose it will be spread to other countries, except Cape Town again. But we'll just fly up 2 hours. That's our internal joke. So how do we integrate it? I think that's we now getting to what do we do almost immediately? How do we fill this vacuum? I mentioned service providers. Yes, I think we can engage them, especially the likes of Gearhouse, who's here. They already engaged with SARA, so that's a beginning, that's a model. Active involvement with the CETAs. Yes, they're sitting with a budget. The money, not the know-how. Use skills intervention, find innovative ways. We've got to consult institutions. We've got to get to the technical universities, find out what they're doing, can be integrated. We've got to speak to the Minister of Education, who's got a good ear in terms of this intervention, because we're talking about careers and we're talking about jobs, bottom line. And like most countries, employment's always a big issue. The planning. From the outset, it's all about the pre-production. How do we get there? And of course, we've got to look at a lateral view in all our constituents. And I think there's also a sector that we should look at is the disadvantaged people in this country and people with disabilities. And in particular with disabilities, disabilities need to be mainstreamed. And that is from the beginning and not as an afterthought. I think that's very important and must treat it as an equal opportunity, which is also part of our national agenda. And then everyone wins. Oh, I missed that slide. I think other impacts, we talk again about integrating it into our workplace. And of course, it's also the cost in terms of how we go about it. But the seat and equipment supplies subsidy options. So we're looking at the win-win situation, building a pool of available skills to the extent that prohibited costs associated with scarce and rare, rare skills falls, accessing and engaging and being part of a related skills training and development program, and improving the skills standards. Again, we've got to work as a collective in order to achieve that. Therefore, the importance, it's an extremely important gathering, I think in the context of our workplace and how we integrate the training of the live music industry. And I use music in particular, it's my field. And we've got to speak directly to addressing the critical urgent need to upgrade technical and production skills, qualifications, and standards in South Africa. And we should take it away up from NQS 4 to 5 and 6. And I think that's what Fred is trying to do, or done already, and considering and validating the needs for technicals, validating the needs. We've got to prove it within the sector. And of course, this is where we deal with the analysis forecast. What is the demand out there? How do we align it to the future of this country, the future of the industry? And the enhancement of technical production, vocational training and education with a view to formulate a sector plan for the future. And I'm talking a lot about the future, but the future is tomorrow, what started today. And in closing, I have come to an end. Thanks very much to Sarah and this event and all our colleagues and delegates that came here. I think after this year, we are looking at how do we have, not annually, but biannually, and so we extend it. And I think the more we sit down and the more we look at our needs, and once we start looking at the real needs in terms of what's out there for the next 10 years and who's out there that needs careers in their lives, I think we'll fast track it. Thank you very much.